Calm body, quiet mind, play hard, play smart, play together. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really powerful philosophy on how to make those harder right choices. You know, whether you're leading a team, trying to level up your own performance, or just navigating the crazy complexities of life, this foundational mantra, it's going to be our true north. Think of This Explainer as your visual coaching manual. We're going to break down exactly how to build an identity that is totally independent of your performance and how to lead others with serious intention. Basically, we're looking at what it actually takes to forge character when the pressure is really on. All right, let's dive into the playbook. First up, avoiding strategy. Then, building a bulletproof identity. Number 3 is the discipline of discomfort. Next, what we choose to commemorate. And finally, finding calm in the storm. Let's get to it. Section 1. Avoiding strategy and why we fear making the call. So, author Seth Godin frames our fear of strategy in a pretty fascinating way. It's not just a business observation, it's honestly a confession. It forces us to look right in the mirror. We always claim to fear that our strategy is going to fail, right? But quietly, deep down, we often fear it will succeed. Because if it succeeds, well, then we actually have to own what comes next. It is just so much easier to wear someone else's crown, run someone else's offense, or just copy another team's culture. That way, when it all falls apart, we can just blame the system. So how do we actually fix this? Well, to apply this directly to your team, or honestly your own life, you have to name this fear out loud. If you're a coach and you're leading a film review, call it out. Say something like, hey, we're avoiding a decision right now. We aren't lacking a plan. You have to literally force the team to choose a system on purpose, not just by default. Accountability absolutely starts with taking ownership of the strategy. Moving on to Section 2, building a bulletproof identity and the danger of performance-based worth. To really get this, let's look at a pretty heavy cautionary tale. The legendary golfer Seve Ballesteros was an absolute artist on the course. As a kid, he built his game on the beaches near his village with literally a single borrowed 3-iron. He played with pure feel, crazy creativity, and zero fear. He used to say he felt like he controlled not just the ball, but the galleries and his opponents. And he won 90 tournaments playing a game nobody else could even replicate. But when his career eventually faded, his personal life suffered deeply. It's proof that an identity built entirely on performance is kind of like a beautiful house built on a floodplain. Eventually, the water's going to rise. And this perfectly tees up the solution, captured beautifully before any crisis hits. As Psalm 139 illustrates, I thank you, God, for making me so mysteriously complex. You perceive every movement of my heart and soul. Your worth is not just your stat line. You have to root your identity in something that external metrics simply cannot touch. The wild irony here is that if you refuse to stake your identity on something external, your playing can finally be completely free, precisely because it isn't load-bearing. So, the crucial takeaway for any leader or coach here is consistency. After a massive win, or even a crushing loss, ask your people to name one true thing about themselves that has absolutely nothing to do with the scoreboard. You've got to build that resilient foundation every single day. All right, Section 3, the discipline of discomfort and doing the hard work. The Stoic philosopher Seneca is incredibly blunt about this reality. He reminds us that good people will do what they find honorable to do, even if it requires hard work. They'll do it even if it causes them injury. Doing the honorable thing often requires some heavy lifting, right? But here is the massive perspective shift. The duty wasn't assigned to you because it's easy. It was assigned to you because you are the one who can carry it. Discomfort isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. Legendary music producer Rick Rubin talks about this as pushing through creative resistance. He notes that we're often just passengers on the boat, and the final outcome, it's really out of our control. We just have to show up. Epictetus taught the exact same thing thousands of years earlier. Seek the good in yourselves, not in external things. Discomfort is really just an invitation to look internally for your value. So, translating this philosophy right onto the practice field, leaders should build one deliberately hard drill into the schedule every single week. Now, to be clear, this isn't meant to be a punishment. It's just supposed to be hard. And the real trick is to explicitly name it for your team. Tell them straight up, this is practice for character, not just practice for skill. Section 4, what we choose to commemorate and deciding what to honor. This distinction from General Tai Saidul is a total game changer for leadership. History and commemoration, they are not the same thing. History records facts unflinchingly. It doesn't hide the ugly stuff, like the fact that Marcus Aurelius' beloved teacher sentenced Justin Martyr to a brutal death, or that the Stoics owned slaves. But commemoration, that is a deliberate choice. We don't celebrate Marcus Aurelius for his conquests. We choose to hold up his private internal struggle to be a decent human being for our people to imitate. Think about it. When you're reviewing game film of a rival or looking at your own team's past performances, you are constantly making a choice about what to commemorate. You have to teach your players to separate what happened from what we honor. Praise the underlying value, the hustle, the private decency, rather than just cheering for the final score. Section 5. Finding calm in the storm. The invitation and the quiet mind. I want you to picture this. A 7-year-old boy in a park in Richmond, quietly watching a stranger practice tennis. That boy was Arthur Ashe, who would obviously go on to become not just a legendary tennis player, but a profound civil rights leader. And it all started because that stranger noticed a tiny flicker of interest in this young kid. The stranger simply asked, "Would you like to learn how to play?" As author Ryan Holiday points out, this lands incredibly hard for anyone who leads young people. We simply cannot rely on the kindness of strangers to do this work. As a leader, it is your job to watch for the quiet kid on the bench. The real magic is often hiding in the exact things a kid is too afraid to ask about. That one sentence, that's an invitation that could change an entire season, or literally change a life. The legendary basketball coach John Wooden lived by the idea that you must train in chaos to be at peace in chaos. Composure in a fast-changing world is earned, it's not given. It isn't just magically discovered in the heat of the moment. The steady response to a crazy, fast-changing world isn't to panic. It's to focus on what is actually yours to control, your decency, your patience, and even keel. And just let that be enough. To actually achieve this steady response, your team must literally practice the storm. During training, run scenarios that are completely chaotic and cue your mind, calm body, quiet mind. If you practice the storm thoroughly enough, the chaos of the actual game will feel entirely familiar when it finally hits. So, let's summarize everything we've unpacked in our explainer today. A strategy avoided is just a decision you made by default. An identity built only on your performance? That's a house built on a floodplain. Choosing the harder right, like Seneca's sense of duty or extending the quiet kid's invitation, it's hard precisely because it's real. None of it was ever supposed to be easy. That's the whole point. Calm body, quiet mind. Play hard, play smart, play together. General Stanley McChrystal reminds us that you can be intelligent, talented, and wildly successful, but the real test happens in the dark. Your character becomes your destiny. So, as we wrap up and you head back to your team, your work, or your family, I want to leave you with one absolutely vital question to chew on. Who do you choose to be when no one is watching?